Minister, Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore, Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson, has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man. One look at his resume and the reason becomes clear. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self-development, personal transmutation, and self-awakening, he lives his bliss as a teacher, mentor, speaker, minister, and so much more. His mission is to live, move, and be an active, which is an acronym, authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, and empowered member of society who serves to educate, elucidate, emancipate, awaken, and empower people and communities. Rev, it's all yours.
Thank you, Tracy. Meow, 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 meow to you too.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
So I'm going to start, excuse me, I'm going to start right off the bat and let Jesse know you will not get a disagreement from me about silliness is a part of godliness. So yeah, you're not going to get a disagreement from me. I'm one of the silliest people. Never mind, I'm going to leave that alone.
It's CSL.
Hey. So today we're talking about this, excuse me. I was laughing at Tracy and
you need some water?
I might. So today we're talking about this idea of, so every time I see this word, I think it says sparkling. Sparking imagination.
Sparking? Okay.
By evoking curiosity and imagination, we intuit new ways of being. And as we integrate the new vision, we develop new practices that energize and expand our divine presence in the world. So we're going to pick on a couple of these words. Curiosity, imagination, and this intuition thing. But specifically for right now, Tracy's handing me a tiny little cup. Cheers, everyone. Okay, so curiosity. How many of us would say that we are curious people? Are you a curious person? When curiosity means a strong desire to know or learn something. You know, it's often said, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, one, I'd like to know what classifies an old dog. I'm 55 and I ain't nowhere near considering myself old. Tracy is older than me, not really, but I say she is. And never mind, we're not going to talk about Tracy right now. Do you mislabel being nosy with curious? Because oftentimes we'll say something, I'm just being curious. No, you're being nosy. See, curiosity, keep in mind, a strong desire to know or learn something, which means curiosity builds us up. Curiosity makes us step into more and more ways of being what we are as the universe itself. Being nosy is just, I want to gossip. I want the latest news, the information about what the Kardashians are doing. Knowing about what the Kardashians are doing is not going to make my life any more divine, any more fun, or any more effective. That's just me being nosy. Do you avoid being curious? You know, once again, a strong desire to know or learn something. Do you avoid learning something? Do you avoid learning something? Do you avoid giving yourself the opportunity to learn something new, to dive deeper into your own interests, your passions? Well, you know, I'm probably too old to take a class, or, you know, I don't something workshop, or whatever. And so we stay on this very nice, even, calm, placid state of just skating by rather than encouraging ourselves to become even greater. Not greater as in, I'm better than, but greater in terms of what we say the universe is, what God is, what spirit is ever expanding consciousness. When we give ourselves the opportunity to learn something new, what do we say? Every day is an opportunity to learn something new. I learned something new today. We are expanding into that greater level and greater awareness of and greater ways of being in the world. But we have to give ourselves permission to do so. So, curiosity. Well, what do you want to know? What do you want to learn? Everybody has something, or you wouldn't be here. Now, if you're telling yourself, nah, there's nothing I want to learn. Yeah, I know everything I need to. Delusion. Tracy said it's delusion. That's her. Come on, Reverend Tracy Rhymes. So identify what is something you are passionate about. Learning doesn't necessarily mean you have to take a class in it. It might be read a book, watch a video. Learning may be self-exploration. Orville and Wilbur didn't take a class in how to build a plane. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't take a class in civil rights and critical race theory. Mahatma Gandhi didn't take a class in peaceful resistance. Nelson Mandela didn't take a class, right? They didn't take classes. They wrote the classes. They lived the curriculum. But what is something you want to know? They wanted to know this. What is something you want to know? Einstein says, I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious. I am only passionately curious. There is something within me that wants to learn, wants to know, wants to grow and expand. And yet, once again, there is that thing, that tendency sometimes that creeps in and says, well, I don't want to be like Curious George because that monkey's always getting into trouble. And I definitely don't want curiosity killed the cat. I have no idea how that cat got into the piñata or in the tissue, but I have no idea. And we say, curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought him back. He was resurrected because of satisfaction. But stepping into this playful nature of curiosity, playfulness, silliness doesn't have to be something we dread. It shouldn't be something we dread. This whole idea, curiosity killed the cat, is how the status quo keeps us from being curious, keeps us from being extraordinary, keeps us from being divine. Break out of this paradigm of same old, blah, blah, blah. I'm good where I am. There's a difference between being satisfied, being comfortable, and not working to Kaizen, the Japanese concept of Kaizen. There is the opportunity for constant and ever going improvement upon oneself. Status quo doesn't want us to do that. They want us to be nice little, neat little, follow the pattern kinds of people. They don't want us to be the next Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, etc. They don't want us to be Toni Morrison, Oprah Winfrey. They don't want us to be Audre Lorde. They don't want that. They don't want that. So our invitation is to be that exact thing. Be that for yourself. Be that for ourselves. Lewis Carroll says in Alice in Wonderland, Alice laughed. There's no use in trying, she said. One can't believe impossible things. I dare say you haven't had much practice, said the Queen. When I was your age, I always did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I've believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. How many impossible things are you willing to believe on any given day before your first cup of coffee or tea? Before you step outside of the house? What impossible things are you willing to entertain? Oprah Winfrey said, you have to find what sparks a light in you. Passion, bliss, so that you in your own way, can illuminate the world. So Sue's meditation today was about that light that is ancient, that is beyond time and space, that is right here where we are, ever shining in, through, and as us. Are you willing to find what sparks, what encourages you to let that light shine in your own way so that the world may be illumined? Because sometimes we back away in fear. We don't want to let our light shine. We don't want to be silly, because the silly people are going to look at me like I'm strange. People are going to ostracize me. They're going to abandon me. To that I say, meow, 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 woof, woof. I would translate that, but in comic book language, it's hashtag, hashtag, exclamation point, ampersand, meow, 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 woof, woof. Tracy's laughing at me again. You do this almost every Sunday. You're laughing at me. Imagination is endless. This concept of being in Disneyland, Disney World, this concept of being an Imagineer, someone who engineers imagination, someone who allows their imagination to inspire, to move, to grow within them, and then they craft it, they tweak it, they move it, so that what they are imagining becomes part of not just their internal reality, but their external reality as well. What are we willing to Imagineer into existence? What are we willing to allow ourselves to think, feel, speak, and act from our imagination? Stan Lee Imagineered Spider-Man. Two young Jewish boys Imagineered Superman. Kal-El. Disney Imagineered Disney. Right? What is yours to Imagineer? What is your calling that your imagination wants to birth through you, in you, and as you? Science of Mind says, creation is the play of life upon itself through divine self-imagination. Because what do we say? There is only one power, one presence, whatever we're calling it, God, spirit, source, life itself, the universe, source, whatever we're calling it. That is, creation itself is playing, it is living, it is moving, it is being and breathing itself upon itself, in itself, as itself. And it is doing this through this thing called divine self-imagination. It is imagining creation. And because it imagines this, that which it thinks, that which it quote unquote speaks, that which it is being must come into being, must be made manifest. Back to Einstein. If I had a nice fuzzy white wig, I'd wear it. You do. Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. Bum, bum, ba-da. Right? Knowledge will only get you so far. Because what we say we know, well, we know that man can't fly. Ain't no such thing. If God wanted us to fly, God would have given us wings. Ain't nobody trying to be like Icarus and fly up into the sun and melt and then fall into the water. Imagination says, boy, go sit down and hush, because I'm getting ready to create a plane and a spaceship and the Jetsons and a whole bunch of other stuff to boldly go where no one has gone before, USS Enterprise. We can fly once we imagine it, right? What are we willing to imagine beyond just the plain nuts and bolts of knowledge? Neville Goddard said, imagination and faith. Imagination and faith are the secrets of creation. But how often do we let the brick wall of reality, the brick wall of culture and society, the brick wall of our own fears block us from that very thing of imagination and faith? We let that obstacle hold us back and impede us from progress. We let our fears hold us back. We let culture and society hold us back. We let the naysayers hold us back. We let whatever that is hold us back from truly dreaming. To dream the impossible dream. We let that brick wall say, no. Turn that volume down. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. To dream the no. Hush up. Science of Mind says, the creative power responds to feeling more quickly than to any other mental attitude. See, we can think a thing and just think it. You know, Tracy, I think I'm going to exercise today. And Tracy watches me sit on the couch, putting a donut in my mouth, and then another donut in my mouth, to which she says, hey, Rev, I thought you was going for a walk today. Well, I'm thinking about it. For as long as it's a thought and I'm not feeling the motivation to go, then it's not going to get done. Yesterday, Tracy and I, first time ever, we had this opportunity to go to Comic-Con in Dover, Delaware, and we were like, like when we first heard, like, COVID, it was just a thought. Then we're like, look, dude, look, this is an opportunity to dress up. The feeling of the opportunity to go out and hang out with new friends and new family, and the feeling inspired the action, which means the brick wall of don't go. People are going to laugh at you. Don't go. Do COVID. Don't go. The brick wall of that was like, yeah, no, we ain't playing the brick wall of. And so any moment we have the opportunity to do the same thing and say, I see beyond the brick wall. I see what is possible beyond it. So when the brick wall shows up, I see how to knock it down, how to push through it, how to transcend it so it is immaterial. Whatever the fear is, whatever the anxiety is. Now, I'm not talking about throwing all caution to the wind and just running outside butterball naked into COVID. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about be safe, be precautious, but don't let the fear and the precautions cause us to become stagnant and frozen in fear, because then we are imprisoned by our fears. Science of Mind also says, imagination carries with it feeling and conviction, which means life and action. You probably heard me mention this before, because there's this phrase that goes around in our teaching that says, if someone were to take you to court and try you based upon your faith in this teaching, would they have enough evidence to convict you? How convicted are we to recognize our extraordinary nature, our divine magnificence, and to live from that? Because feeling and conviction means life and action. Somewhere, some way, shape, or form, this should be showing itself, demonstrating itself. If it's not evident, if it's not visible, then we're not convicted. It must show up. Faith is action. God is a verb. How are we letting it show up in, through, and as us moment by moment, rather than denying it the opportunity? When are we saying, yeah, no, old dog, new tricks, no, silly, no, status quo, yes, fit in, yes, model myself after everyone who's ever done anything that's ever, yes, yay. That's not life. That's existing, but it's not living. It's not thriving. Carpe diem. We are here to thrive and seize the day. John Keats said, I am certain of nothing but the holiness of the heart's affections and the truth of the imagination. The holiness of the heart's affections, the holiness of our feelings, and the truth of the imagination. See, we often sidestep imagination like it's just something that kids do, but we imagine things that we are worried about. That's imagination. Well, but Tracy, what if? That's using my imagination for something that is life denying. What if? Blah, 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 blah. I'm using my imagination. It's not happening right now, but I am creatively imagining but what if it does? What if it does happen, Tracy? What if it does? That's imagination. And the truth of imagination, self-fulfilling prophecy, like it's that kind of name and game. What am I willing to shift within me so that I am a powerful steward of my imagination? In the same way that Ai Weiwei says, imagine one day the hateful world around you collapses, and it is your attitude, your words, and your actions that put an end to it. Will you be excited? Will you? Because it is. All of this stuff that we're talking about, yes, there is the individual, but there is only one power, only one presence called by many names, and it is showing up in, through, and as every one of us. So what I do impacts the collective. What Tracy does impacts the collective. What any one of us does impacts the collective. Am I going to be excited because my attitude, my words, and my actions are putting an end to this hateful, fear-filled, etc. world? Am I going to be excited? I'm excited right now. I'm not going to be. I'm excited right now because I know it is happening in the present. There is no blah, blah, blah. It's happening now. As my consciousness anchors and grounds and I live and walk the walk now, then it is changing and transforming all of creation. So yes, as Tracy says, oh, doing another acronym. Yes, Tracy, doing another acronym. Let us imagine. Let us have inspired ideas, ideas that are different from the same old thoughts we've had before. If an inspired idea, Jessie singing the music that she sings, means that somewhere that which is the divine showing itself as her had this inspired idea for a melody and for lyrics. When Tracy is taking photographs yesterday at the Comic-Con, there is an inspired idea when she sees, oh, that person would be click, click. Oh, that's a click, click. There is the inspired idea, which means something other than what has been. Mens agitat molem, Latin for mind moves matter, often translated as mind over matter. Mind moves matter because there is no matter separate from mind. As the Kabbalion says, all is mind. This is a mental universe. So what we think about, how we think about, how we use our mental, which is our entire being, not just our thoughts, but our thinking, our feeling, our speaking, our action moves creation, moves matter. It moves life. It changes the experience. Alignment, as you've heard me say before, we're always in alignment. Question is, what are we in alignment with? Am I in alignment with, young lady, you're too old to be silly. Act your age. Am I in alignment with that? Or am I in alignment with allowing myself the freedom to meow, to let my joy and happiness? I'm in alignment with something all the time. What are we in alignment with? And how do we get into alignment with what we desire to be in alignment with? Give. Life is not about accumulating. It is about giving. Rainika and Deidre are giving their skills, their time, their talent through interpreting to make the service accessible. Tracy gives of her time, talent, work ethic, work. Give. Jessie gives. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, and she can correct me when she comes back on, if you go to her website, one of the first things you see is she is offering to give you a free song. Give. We are here to give. Trees give. Grass gives. The sky gives. That which spirit is gives to itself, through itself, by itself, back unto itself. What are we willing to give? Not take, not take, not take. Because if we take and we take and we take and we don't replenish, then the garden is dead. The harvest is none. For what I take, I must give back to the ground. For every sweet potato I pull, I must replant so that it is an ongoing. What am I willing to give? What are you willing to give to the world? Another way of saying that is, How are you investing? Investing in yourself, investing in your community, investing in your loved ones, investing in your friends, investing in your craft, your skill set. Like I said, Tracy, as a photographer, is she willing to invest by taking a class, by picking up the camera and exploring? Yes, because if you don't invest, and then it's like, hey, Rev, what is this? It's a camera, Tracy. Oh, what do they do? It takes pictures. Oh, that's cool. How does it do that? You push the buttons. What button? There's a whole bunch of buttons on it, right? You have, she's laughing at me right now. But you have to invest in learning which buttons do what, which turn does what. You have to be willing to invest. A lot of us have been taught to put ourselves last, to take care of ourselves last, put everybody else first, put everything else first, deplete ourselves. No. Being a spiritual being is about taking care of yourself so that you are giving from your overflow, not from a half-empty cup, not from a good to the last drop Maxwell House cup. No. I ain't letting my cup get to the last drop, hun. I'm going to always pour back into the cup so it is from its overflow. I'm drinking from my saucer. Now, be present. Reverend Ike has said, and I'm paraphrasing, something to the effect of, oh, I've heard of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I've heard of those days. I've never heard of someday, right? I've never heard of someday. Someday I'll invest in me. Wait. When is this someday? It's someday. Well, someday is ain't never gonna happen day. If you're gonna have a goal, part of having a goal means establishing a when. When am I going to do the work? When am I going to? And being present in the now, knowing that this moment right now unfolds into the next now moment and the next now moment. But we put the by and by somewhere down it'll happen somewhere down the road. Eventually when the kids grow up, then I'll be happy. Then, then I can retire and then I'll finally have the freedom to take care of me, to live happy after. What? If you ain't living happily ever after now, happily ever before, I don't know. If you ain't living happily now, then the someday when the whoever graduates, moves, does whatever job is, retire, whatever, you're not going to be happy then because there's only now. And lastly, experience and expression. How are we bringing this into fruition? How are we living this path? How are we living this? How is it showing up as an expression in our everyday lives? Because once again, if there's no evidence, what's his name? Yeshua. Jesus. What did Jesus say? Look at the tree. The tree will be known by the fruit that it bears. Oh, that tree ain't got diddly squat on it. It ain't bearing fruit. Then what use is it? And it's gone. Right? So what fruit, what expression, what life are we living? Because we are known by the fruit that we bear. We are known by the experience that we live. We are known by how we are a living, moving, breathing expression of this extraordinary, magnificent thing that we call life. There is only one life, and that life is beautiful beyond measure. It is gorgeous. It is delicious. It is powerful. And that life is your life right now. George Bernard Shaw said, there are those that look at things the way they are and ask, why? Why? Why is this and why is that? I dream of things that never were and ask, why not? Right? So let's follow that into the next slide by some guy y'all know who says, there is only one way to end such things as war, famine, poverty, and the vastness of the planet's systemic ills and diseases. We achieve the seemingly impossible by first believing that it is possible. Then we make space in our lives for the manifestation of it. So rather than saying, But Reverend Ray, war, getting rid of war, that's impossible. I'd rather say, but I manifest the possible. But Reverend Ray, racism, sexism, homophobia, they will never, it's impossible. I manifest the possible. That which is infinite possibility, called by many names, God, Spirit, Source, the Force, the universe itself. That which it is infinite potentiality. And what it is, each one of us is in the flesh. Each one of us is that exact power. For those of you who may not be Star Wars fans, what did Yoda say? For my ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is. For my ally is the universe itself. For what it is, I am. It is moving in me, flowing through me, it's showing up as me. There is no separation between what it is and what I am. There is only it. The Word made flesh, living itself as me, as you. Are you someone who says, I manifest the possible? Or is your mantra, but that's impossible? That will never be. That's never going to happen. We will always have racism. We will always have sexism. We will always have homophobia and xenophobia. We will always have. Is that truth? Is that the truth you want to declare? Or are you willing to say, I'm willing to dream a thing that currently is not, and dream it so powerfully that it becomes manifested fact? I manifest the possible. This week's homework, should you choose to accept, it's not homework, Tracy, it's just exercises, it's practice.
This week's spiritual practice.
This week's spiritual practice.
If you choose to practice it.
If you choose to practice it, that's what Tracy said. In what ways have you tended to put your imagination to use? How have you tended in your life? Do you use your imagination to play and have fun? Or do you use your imagination to worry and doubt? What practice will you commit to this week to nurture a healthy and more life-affirming use of your imagination? Will you doodle? Will you sing? Will you dance? Will you bake? Will you garden? Like, there are billions and trillions and zillions of possible things, but what practice will you commit to? What are some things, subjects, topics that you find fascinating and are curious about? Just identify that. Just identify it. You don't have to do anything about it yet, but identify what are you passionate about? And then lastly, what will you commit to this week to nurture your childlike curiosity? It's not the last thing, sorry. What will you commit? What will you commit to this week to nurture your childlike curiosity with freedom and abandon? And then lastly, for real, the last one, because it's always about having a conversation with folks, have a conversation with two people about the acronym, the Imagine acronym, and what each letter sparks within you, stirs within you, stimulates within your heart, your mind, and your body. Just explore that. And this week's declaration affirmation, if you feel so aligned with it, I will say it first and then together. My imagination grows my consciousness and expands my life now. Together, my imagination grows my consciousness and expands my life now. We let that resonate and reverberate through every cell of our being. Thank everybody for being exactly who you are as the divine demonstration and manifestation of love. Each and every one of us is that power and that presence, light, that power and that presence, love, that power and that presence that is a gift to each other. That is how God, how Spirit, how Source is giving and gifting and sharing through itself, to itself, about itself, back unto itself, because it's all goodness, it's all deliciousness, it's all awesome and amazing. And recognizing that exactly what it is we allow this service to come to a close, but knowing that who and what we are as service made flesh continues throughout the rest of this amazing, beautiful, imaginative, playful, and silly day. We allow this to be the truth as we surrendered into the law, knowing the law receives it and says, yes, that means this benediction, this prayer, this service was and is a prayer. Wow, I got ready to jump in. Woo! Oh, knowing that this service, this prayer, every song, every interpreted motion, every aspect of this is answered prayer. That what we said about removing the hate-filled world and removing racism and sex, like this is that prayer answered. So we allow it to be. We allow Spirit to do what Spirit does, and then we are convicted to do what is ours to do. That is so, it is done, and together we say, and so it is. Much love.